there are tons of guides online as well as myself who takes care of it. But once those three are solved, like you're pretty much good to run an email system. It doesn't have to be complicated. The ideas, I know it like takes like on the creative side, it does take some time to like figure out what works best for your audience. But as long as you can prove what the product is, how it works, why it works, and when you need to use it, that's all that really matters. And that's what all the customer cares about is like, will this product apply to me? Will it work for me? And what's the easiest way for me to buy, and making it a frictionless process.
Step into the world of success with Your Brand Amplified, the ultimate podcast designed to unravel the intricacies of thriving businesses. I'm your host, Annika Jackson, and I'm on a mission to uncover the stories, strategies, and secrets that have propelled entrepreneurs and business leaders to success. One of the things that's ever more important in today's world, no matter what kind of brand you have, is to nurture your first-party data, which comes in the form of your website, blog posts, your email list, and those phone numbers that you have access to for your customers and all of the other data you have on your customer base. So my guest now, Nikita Vakhrushev of Aspect, is an expert in this exact area. So as we're going into Q4, this is a perfect time to start rethinking your strategies and seeing what else you can do to prop up your business in a time when there's a lot of noise, even more than usual in the market. So Nikita, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Annika. I'm excited to talk through all things email marketing, SMS marketing, and how to leverage that from more customers and more revenue for your business.
Let's start at the beginning. Were you always interested in email marketing and SMS and e-commerce?
Yeah, ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to create email. I'm joking. I just completely
like,
fell
whoa.
into it. No, I wasn't dreaming as a child to like sit in front of my desk for 8 hours a day. But I fell into it, and it's one of the marketing channels that I genuinely have a lot of fun with, because you get immediate feedback on whether something worked or something hasn't, because you just launch an email and you see the results and it's like, well, this one didn't do so great. What can we do better? Or it crushed and it's like, okay, how can we do more of that? But I actually started off in e-commerce with my own print-on-demand drop shipping store back in 2016, 2017, and eventually learned how to grow that to, I think it was doing around like 10,000 a month at like its peak. Not a lot, but it was a lot for me as a college kid, not knowing anything
a lot of
about
shirts and items.
There's a lot of shirts. Yeah. So I learned a lot of basic marketing skills there, like how to set up a Shopify store, or how to run Google ads, or how to run Facebook ads, how to send out emails, basically everything you need to know to essentially run the marketing side for a business. And eventually I had friends, family, colleagues reach out asking for help. And that led one thing to another, to eventually starting to get paid freelancer gigs, essentially, of like running Facebook ads here or running your email campaigns there, and essentially scaled that up in like 2019 and 2020. And around this time, we pivoted strictly into e-commerce, because the whole world, everything was shut down. You don't know if you're going to leave your house ever. So I'm like, okay, it only makes sense to do e-commerce going forward. And then we were doing everything at that point. So landing pages, creative, Facebook ads, email, Google ads, TikTok, etc. And around 2021, 2022 is when we had like a breaking point with the business. Like, we had really high churn rates. We had not so successful case studies on Facebook and Google. And email was the only channel that was doing really, really well for us at the time, where we had a really high success rate. We made really great designs and we had good strategy around that. And it only made sense to pivot into email and SMS afterwards. And that's what we did. We stopped taking on any Facebook clients, and we've been doing email and SMS since.
Wow. I will say personally, I'm that person who will click on an ad and then they'll ask me for my email address. Then they'll ask me for my cell phone number. And I haven't necessarily even gotten to that part of the funnel yet. All right. So I don't necessarily want to be deluged with content from brands or the company that sends you an email every single day. And again, I'm like, I don't have time to look at an email from you every single day. I can only look at the ones that are really important. So how do you help figure out what the right mix is of email and how to create compelling emails that customers actually want to read and respond to?
There's definitely two ways of going about this. There's one easy way of going about it where you just ask and you can have a form or like a simple like question of like how often do you want to get emails? Do you want just sales and promos? Do you want educational? Do you want all of it? So we have done that in the past where we genuinely just have like an automation running as soon as someone subscribes. We ask them like, hey, what kind of cadence do you want to get these emails at? The other way is honestly pretty much just touch and go, just figuring it out. We typically start off with a cadence of like 2 per week and then go up or go down from there. So like if we have really good response rates, our revenue's good, our click-through rates are good, our open rates are solid, like we can start to push that a little bit further up to like 3 times a week. And then once we get to 4 times a week, that's when we start to segment a little bit further. So some people get one message, other people get another message, whatever is relevant to them. And it also scales up with the amount of contacts that you have. So if you have like 100,000 contacts, you have a completely different sending schedule than someone that has 20,000 contacts. So in that sense, we try to stick with like 1 to 2 per week, at least once a month if you're just running things solo and you just need to send out messaging. But if you have someone managing it for you, try to at least do once a week.
Yeah, that's good to hear. But how do you determine what works best? I mean, you said you can ask people, you can kind of just test things, but are there different techniques that work best depending on what category of e-commerce you're in?
Yeah, like if you're in a very fast fashion-y or like an industry that moves really, really quickly, then it would make sense to have like a higher sending cadence. But if you're in an industry where not much changes and you're only coming out with like products like once per quarter, then a lot of the emails that we do send out, it's more nurture based and education based and getting them onto the like understanding like what the brand is, the history of the brand, that sort of thing. So it's really a case by case situation. I hate the word it depends or like the answer it depends because it usually does, but for the most part it's just learning about the brand and what kind of customers they have, and from there we can determine like what kind of cadence they need.
Yeah. Okay, that helped answer part of my next question, which was, do you have a formula that you figured out for e-commerce specifically on the emails versus SMS? Is it demographic based or is it just more interest based?
It's a lot more interest based. The main misconception about SMS is that it's just shorter emails, which yes and no. Like if you're doing a promotionary email where it's like 20% off this weekend, there you can kind of shorten down what the email would be about to just those main bullet points. But I think SMS is just like a very underutilized channel, especially if the brand founder is very public. You can do more selfie style, like a friend texting you with like a selfie, like, hey, it's Annika, like just checking in, like those sort of style messages. But when it comes to, I guess, the differentiation of like what's worked best, I think a lot of like email is pretty much the backbone of everything that we do. And then SMS is complementary to anything that email can't do. So we do have a formula when it comes down to the strategy that we run. So what type of automations and flows we set up, what kind of messaging goes into those flows, the campaigns, the segmentation, that sort of thing. So we do have a formula that we typically use with clients and then adjust it on a client by client basis. Like for example, with flows, we would have like 5 emails in like a welcome flow. And then we would then follow up with like 2 to 3 SMS messages along the way. Like if they've bought, they don't receive any more communications from that flow. But if they haven't and they need a little bit more convincing, then we would like implement SMS to get maybe a higher open rate than we would have with email, or like just get that message across. Does that help answer?
Yeah, absolutely. When it came to your company and your brand, when you made this change to really niche down, was that a difficult rebrand for your existing customer base to get used to? Did you have to fire some clients? What does that look like?
It was a mix of firing clients and then also holding on to the clients that we had until we could replace them with email clients. So it was a weird approach, but I'm thankful for it. So like for the referral partners that we had to tell them immediately of like, hey, we're not taking on any more like ad clients. That's number one. For some clients that we didn't really want to have on board and it was just not a good relationship, Those we fired. And then some of the clients that we enjoyed working with genuinely and we were getting good results for, we had them stick around until it made sense to fire them or until they churned on their own. So I think it took about, since we made the decision, it took about 6 months before we were fully just email focused. So it did take a bit of a progression. I'd say the biggest downfall was just saying no to leads that wanted to pay you, because that's not the thing that you focused on anymore. So
Yeah. I think that is a lot of organizations, especially when you're a small business owner, that's the downfall, is turning away paid work to focus on what you know will truly bring you joy, something that you're really an expert in, where you can make a real difference for your clients.
I just didn't know the change would take 6 months. I would be like, okay, cool. Like we switched. All right, we're only getting email clients. It's like, nope, 6 months. And then maybe another 6 months on top of that to get like your footing as the business that does email, if that makes any sense. And it's still like an uphill battle to just like shout from like the rooftop of like, hey, we do only email and SMS. So it's gotten better.
That is a positive, and that's good to hear. But I do also, because, in the digital world, we talk a lot about cross-channel, making sure that we are optimizing our campaigns, whether it's with the paid, with your organic, with your email campaigns, SMS, whatever the strategies might be. But a lot of people still get stuck in the, what meta ad am I going to place? How am I going to reach people on social media? So are there things that you have to convince clients to do, or can you give us some helpful hints for people who are listening who might be like, oh, that's me. I do more on the paid side because I don't know how to approach, emails that really convert.
That's a great question. I think a lot of the convincing that we have to do with our clients is mainly just the different kind of strategies that they're not used to, since they were like very paid focused. So for some of those clients that are like very front offer heavy, we have to convince them like, hey, let's get them on the back end offer, because that's going to be way more profitable down the line. So those are the types of conversations we face, and like them trying to figure it out with their P&L and trying to figure out if the margins would work out, that sort of thing, and making sure that the funnel is profitable. I think a lot of the times where like brands that don't know that they could get more money from email, or like they don't know the right strategy, it comes down to like, I want to say simple, like you still have to do them, but like it comes down to a few simple things. Like the first one is just having your base automation set up. So people that go through the pop-up on the website, make sure that they're getting handled through a welcome flow, and almost indoctrinating them into your brand of like, here's how my brand works, here's the history of my brand, here's what makes my brand different, that sort of thing. Having abandonment flows. So like if someone abandoned checkout, you're following up with them. If someone abandoned their cart, you're following up with them. A post-purchase, so making sure that like once they purchase, they're getting communication about their order, communication about how to use the product or what the use cases are, that sort of thing. So that's number one. Number two is having consistent campaign cadence. So if you just sending one email a week to your list is what's going to keep them warm. I've had brands that paused sending for like 3 or 4 months because they were out of stock and they're on hiatus. When they came back, their deliverability was not good because they just simply stopped sending out communication. And the third one is just deliverability. And that one is a little bit trickier to get, but there are tons of guides online, as well as myself, who takes care of it. But once those three are solved, like you're pretty much good to run an email system. It doesn't have to be complicated. The ideas, I know it like takes like on the creative side, it does take some time to like figure out what works best for your audience. But as long as you can prove what the product is, how it works, why it works, and when you need to use it, that's all that really matters. And that's what all the customer cares about is like, will this product apply to me? Will it work for me? And what's the easiest way for me to buy, and making it a frictionless process.
Yeah. I want to ask about your own business. How do you market? Because obviously you're experts in one thing, but your email list can go so far when you're trying to get people to buy into services for email and SMS marketing specifically.
Yeah, so one of them is right here, a podcast. So like doing other people's shows and podcasts and educating their audience on what we do. That's number one. I do content constantly. So like I put out a weekly YouTube video, I put out a weekly newsletter. So I do practice what I preach. I do that as well as LinkedIn content. We also use we get a pretty good amount of leads from like SEO and Google search. So like we have that handled. We have a pretty solid referral partnership community, if you want to say that. So we work with a lot of like one-off service types. So like similar to how we specialize in email, we work with people that specialize in meta ads or people that specialize in Google ads or CRO or TikTok to like cross-pollinate clients that way, as well as we're doing a bit of cold outbound right now, which is just testing through. But I think those are like the main channels that we run.
Yeah, fantastic. So you are still using a great mix of channels. Yeah. And you're optimizing content all over the place. And you have partnerships, which I think is something that's also really important and effective in today's age. That's how many of us as small business owners bring in a lot of new business. So
Exactly. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, that's the best way. It's like they need help with this thing. I know that you're an expert at it. So like it only makes sense to like
Mhm.
get an introduction going.
Yeah. Fantastic. I would love to hear a little bit about some case studies from your business, from the clients who specifically focused on your current business.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them are on our website. So I think the best one, or not the best one, they're all good, but a really nice one to see was a brand that we took in last year. They were a boot brand here locally in Nashville. So they were doing about 100,000 a month top line, and then email was only doing about like 10 to 12,000 per month. Typically, we try to shoot for 25 to 30% of revenue coming in from email. So like they were obviously short of that at 12%. And over the course of 3 months, or the initial 3 months, we were able to get them to about 33,000 per month, so about 33%. And then over the course of the last year and like the beginning of this year and all the way up until now, they've doubled in business. So like now they're doing about 200,000 top line, and emails bringing in around 55,000 every month.
Yeah, those are some amazing results. And that shows everybody, right? That these tweaks that you can make to make sure that you're really being intentional with your audience, but you're also staying top of mind are
I
really
wish it
important.
was a one and done. Yeah, it would be easy if it was like, all right, cool, got an email figured out. I don't have to worry about this. But unfortunately, it is just like any other growth channel that you have, like Facebook, Meta, Google, etc. Like you need to be intentional with it, and you need to consistently optimize it month over month. Otherwise, like you would just have the same results as you had way back in the day. So yeah, they've been with us for over like a year and a half now, and that's typically how long our clients stay on for, is like year and a half, 2 years. We've had some for like 3, 4 years now. So yeah, we have pretty good retention on our retention clients.
Yeah. We're going into Q4 holidays. So not only are regular businesses sending out sales emails, gift package emails, we're also getting them from nonprofits. So there's a lot more clutter in our inboxes. And if you're like me and you have multiple inboxes, depending on if it's personal, business, which business is it, you know, it can be very overwhelming. So how do you help your clients stand out? And what advice do you have for people who are listening, who are trying to figure out what their strategy is going to be for the holidays, Black Friday?
Yep. Yeah, Black Friday's coming up. And yeah, when we talked about this, the episode's getting published beforehand. So you definitely want to start, working on that. I think the biggest thing that we do for our clients to get the most out of Black Friday revenue without being like another email in your inbox is actually doing it earlier. So we do a pre-Black Friday VIP sale in the middle of November, early middle of November, depending on the brand. And that one is specifically for email subscribers. So that does two things. Number one, like if someone actually wants to buy something from our brand and wants to get the best deal possible before Black Friday, I mean, that sale solves that. Number one, it gets early revenue as well. So you're not waiting all the way until like, I think it's November 28th that it's on this year. So it's all the way at the end of the month before you get those big, spikes in revenue. So that's number one. And then number two is it creates a sense of urgency and like fear of missing out. So you need to be on the email list to get a part of that sale. Like if you go on the website, it looks like a normal website. There's no banners or anything telling you that it's Black Friday. So you need to be on as a part of the list. So it grows the list significantly. It grows revenue significantly. And sometimes you even see better sales on this pre-sale than we do in Black Friday. Plus, we are getting ahead of the crowd. So we're sending all of this information out before your emails flooded on that Friday morning, and you see like 30 different emails from all the brands that you haven't seen in like years.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that idea of having, because it gives, as you said, makes people feel special because they're included in a special private list. It makes them more apt to buy because they're not having to wait and have servers slow down or, whatever things might happen during those high peak sales days.
I think with the people that like they can actually take time to shop around, and there's also well take time but also not take time because the VIP sale is only for 48 hours. So there is some scarcity and urgency to buy there on the customer side as well. So if they do want to be a part of it early on, they can. It's just only for 2 days, and then after that it shuts down. Wait 2 weeks until actual Black Friday goes on, and then everybody knows about the sale. It's like a little secret club, if anything.
Nice. You talked about the fact that this definitely wasn't, where you necessarily saw yourself going in business, but that you found something that you're really good at, that you can help people in a profound way to change the trajectory of their businesses. But you're still having to sit at your desk 8 hours and all of that. So I wanted to ask, what do you see in the future for Aspect, but also how is AI helping, if it's helping at all?
It definitely is helping. A lot of the ways that we leverage AI is mainly just understanding the client's customer better and being able to have it do deep research on like ideal customer, like psychographics, or like what kind of customer are they? An educated customer? Do they go to college? Do they have like a master's, bachelor's, etc. Like basically having those like simple personal details or attributes like helps us write way better emails that will connect with the person a lot better. So it's been really great on the research side. It's also been great on the topic side. So understanding like what topics we should send out or what topics will customers respond to the most. I think that has been like the best way we've leveraged it. We have had it used for like copywriting and like making sure everything is grammatically sound, but not direct copy paste copy from ChatGPT because it's just not that it's not there yet. Like it's good, but it's not good at the same time, if that makes any sense. Like you need a person to understand whether it's good or not. As far as where the company's headed so far, like nothing AI design wise has been good enough to like replace us or replace people yet. But I think the future of AI is going to make traditional agencies extinct in the sense where you're not going to have agencies that will do the work for you because AI will handle the work for you. Traditional agencies will more so be like data collectors and data gatherers where they understand like, okay, if we feed AI all this data about our clients, about our like everything that we know, we're going to get better output on what AI creates. So I think agencies will just be like data hoarders, if you want to call them that hoard all the data about their clients, what worked, what hasn't worked, to teach the AI algorithm on what it needs to do in order to have like the most successful campaigns.
Yeah. And I think that's such a good point. And I really appreciate the fact that you also said one of the main ways that you do use AI is to do deeper dives with your customer profiles.
Yeah. Yeah, because like we would have to like spend hours on researching that we don't have to anymore. I mean, at this point, you can have like ChatGPT 5 do like the deep research and you just leave it be for like 20 minutes and come back and you have like a 40-page report. Maybe not all of it's good, but a pretty good chunk of it is usable at least.
Nice. Yeah. Fantastic. And for your business, no replacement yet, which is also really positive and something that I'm
Yep.
seeing as well, that we still need hand in hand, right? It's not just AI doing everything for us. You have to have that human element because that's where the brand building, the storytelling, those connections that you want to make through email, perhaps through SMS, come from.
Exactly.
As we get into email marketing, SMS marketing, I know one thing that really bothers me sometimes is when I do get an email that seems impersonal. And you said you can segment audiences really well, make messages more personalized. Do you think that we're going to be entering an age of hyper-personalized emails where every single person on an email list or even through SMS might be getting a completely different message?
Yes and no. Like it will be more personalized than it is now. Like similar to how your first name, like if your first name's collected through an order sheet, like your first name is used on everything. I think eventually some of the habits and traits that you have will probably be sold to data collectors that will eventually start utilizing that data on mass email. I don't know, maybe like 5-10 years from now, it'll be like super personalized and it will know like my habits, but that'll probably be a while. I would hope it's a while because that feels like almost like an invasion of privacy. It's like, hey, like you haven't ordered this supplement in 3 weeks and 5 days. And we know how bad your back hurts. So, you should reorder. It's like, whoa, like this is too real almost.
Yeah. On the other hand, I can see where those reminders would come in handy too. If you're a busy professional and you forget to order something, because I feel like sometimes I've seen great personalization, segmentation, but other times it's been really impersonal of like, okay, everybody who has a birthday in this month is going to get the same coupon code when it's probably not necessarily the best time to book a flight, buy this product, right? Maybe it's a heavier investment.
I think I would like begrudgingly use it because it's like, man, you're right. I still have to order this thing. It's like, I hate that you know this about me, but you're right, you know?
Yeah. Well, okay, so it's good to hear that there's still unknowns out there, that there's still paths to pave and places that we can go and keep testing and seeing what we can do. Because what I hear about AI also is that however long we still have websites, that we'll start seeing hyper-personalization on websites, dynamic sites. And so it just makes me wonder how granular will we be able to get, how detailed with those personalized emails. And if instead of going from one psychographic demographic, it'll go into 10 people who have the same exact buying behavior.
Right. I think that would make the most sense technologically to just like go from instead of 1,000 people to then like 100 people that have the same traits to then 10 people. And then eventually it'll evolve into like individual basis of like this person has this kind of behavior tracked by like their IP address, MAC address, like any other way you can track that person. I think they're already doing but not doing, or doing but they say they're not doing, is like grocery chains and like Walmart where like they have face tracking now and they can bounce off of your phone's MAC address to personalize your pricing. So like you could be paying more or less depending on who you are and what you're buying at these stores, which sucks, but
Yeah, I don't know if I can co-sign on that one, but
it's happening. So,
wow. Yeah. Are there any other changes or things that you see coming up in the world of email and SMS marketing?
I think eventually, similar to how email inboxes have like a promotion box and an inbox, I think eventually we'll have like a promotions box in our SMS. Not set in stone, or not like no one's talking about it, but like I think like that would be the most logical next step of being able to clean out your inbox. I mean, I'm not sure if you're familiar with like the new Texas bill that got passed a couple of months ago, but if you send out SMS messaging to any Texan that is not from a registered company, they will get fined $5,000 per message. So like Texas is like, hey, like SMS messages are now considered telemarketing calls, essentially. So it's very expensive and you have to register it. And it's a whole complicated process to get registered as a business to be able to send out these messages. Either way, outside of that tangent, like similar things are probably going to be happening on the SMS side because I know that people either love SMS or hate SMS depending on the brand that they get it from. So I'm not prone to getting spam messages. Like I get them like 5 times a day. So if there's a way to clear out that clutter, that would be amazing. So I think it'll probably just happen eventually. I would hope, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That's really interesting. And that isn't something I knew about. So now I'm going to have to do some deeper research myself. So we talked about Black Friday, some things you can do to kind of maybe game the system, incentivize your customers. What about for the new year? Do you see a lot of people doing sales around, maybe not New Year, New You, but do you see that as another time when people are starting to send a lot of messages?
I think that is the best like excuse for like any habits like that people want to set. Like, for example, like people always want to work out more in the new year, or like people want to be healthier, people want to do this and that. So I think for companies that are centered around health or like improving yourself, that's where we can see a lot of messaging go out for like, hey, like follow your New Year's resolution, or like get better at X problem by buying our product. I mean, that's just simply like what the messaging would be. Like there's ways to dress it up, but that's essentially what it boils down to. So there is a lot of messaging around those brands, but outside of that, January is usually like a slow month for most clients that typically like don't really see much traffic, or like they're more seasonal, or at least they see better results in like spring, summer, fall, rather than like the first month of January, because everyone's usually like trying to spend less. They already spent a lot on Christmas. They may have went on vacations during that time, that sort of thing. So they're not trying to spend as much. But if a brand improves your life, or like if a brand is working on improving your life, that's usually where we see the most results from the messaging.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you for giving us some things to think about, Nikita, and some good advice. I understand you also have an audit.
Yeah. So basically anyone that comes in from Your Brand Amplified, if they want to get a free email marketing audit and SMS marketing audit, they can. It's just on our website. Just make sure that you wrote that you came in from here, so that way we can comp you on that audit.
Fantastic. And do they need to say Your Brand Amplified podcast, the word amplified? Is there anything specific?
Yeah, just the Your Brand Amplified podcast.
Okay. Amazing. And that's a great offer. And I wonder, so do they just share some of the email content that they've written?
We typically get access to their backend. So they would invite our team at Aspect Email, and then I actually do most of the audits. So like I would go through the account, I would see like where things are good, where things need some work, and then come up with a strategy and get on a call with them and talk about exactly what needs to be worked on.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, a lot for us to think about going into Q4 and the new year, how we can continue growing our businesses even during this busy time. So, Nikita, thank you so much for bringing us your expertise, giving us some good actionable advice today.
Yeah, it was a fun one, Annika, and thank you for having me on.
Of course. Last question. Do you have a favorite quote, mantra, verse, family poem, motto?
If you fail to plan on failing. That one, and the way that you do one thing is the way you do everything. Those are like my two go-tos.
Yeah, those are good ones. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing them with us. Thank you to everybody who's watching this episode or listening to it on your favorite platform. I'll be back again with another amazing guest to share their story, their journey, and some actionable items for you and your business. Thanks for listening or watching to this episode of Your Brand Amplified. Don't forget to leave us a rating or review on your favorite podcast listening platform. And if you want to learn more, check us out at yourbrandamplified.com.